All right, folks, we are at our final episode for the Hockey Princess Podcast Women in Sports Week. I want to first off thank all of our amazing guests, whether they were new and this was the first time they were on the podcast, or if they've been on our show before. Thank you all to all of our guests. It was an absolute blast creating this week with everyone. I want to thank everybody who listened to any or all of the episodes. It was, I can't speak to it enough how fun it was to talk with everybody, hear different stories, and just create this week for the podcast. Like I said last week, the final episode, which is this introduction, is going to be a mixtape episode. So we are going to have different clips of previous episodes of other women that we've had on the show, not including these episodes that came out this week. Some of the guests may be the same from this mixtape that we're on this week, but it's just an earlier episode because we've definitely have guests that we've had on a couple of times. I will also have all the timestamps listed below. So whether you're watching it on YouTube or you're listening to it wherever you get your podcasts, I will break down all the timestamps of who we have on and at what point of the episode they're on the mixtape. That way, if you want to listen to someone in particular, you can just jump to their segment of the mixtape. So once again, everybody, thank you to our guests. Thank you to the listeners. And without further ado, the Hockey Princess Podcast Mixtape.
What has been your favorite moment, could be that's happened on the ice with the Indy Fuel this season that you've been able to watch, or behind the scenes this season?
I would say it's super hard. Obviously, one of my favorite moments is my first time broadcasting for the Indy Fuel. That just was a monumental day, both for me as a broadcaster, but also for the Fuel. Being able to say I was the first female that did this was really just an incredible opportunity. Yeah. And the dynamic of we have great, amazing fans, and they were very, very supportive of me going into the booth. Obviously, I got a couple hate comments, but they were really funny, and they fueled me to keep doing more broadcasting. I'll have to tell you my favorite one. So the Indy Fuel has lots of interns. We have 10 interns. Okay. And one comment was the Indy Fuel should stop having interns because they didn't want me broadcasting. That was so funny. Or it was this video is better on mute. I'm thank you. At least you're watching. At least you're watching. But now I've done 4 games under my belt, and the fans are she's really growing on me. She's got some talent. I'm yeah, that's what we're going. That's what we're going here. But obviously it's I love breaking this barrier, and it's a barrier that needs to be broken. Mm-hmm. And women in sports is they're everywhere and often so overlooked. When you think of hockey, until now it was a men's sport. Now you have the PWHL, which is absolutely iconic, and I love everything that they're doing, especially the jersey with the name on the back. That's absolutely insane. And I think just my favorite moment, aside from broadcasting, has just been the growth that I've seen. Mm-hmm. I can't really tell you, but the digital content team, 3/4 of it is women, and that's just amazing. And it's not just one moment. Obviously broadcasting is always going to be my number one moment. Yeah. But just the progression of women in sports has just really been important to me. And I've just loved seeing that this season. And there's also in the hockey realm and sports as a whole.
Love that. With your first moment broadcasting, was it something you kind of knew a while back? We'd like to get you initially to this point, or was it, a week or two ahead of time? Hey, you're going to be broadcasting for this game.
They knew that I had broadcasting experience, and so they were oh, would you ever be interested in this? And I was yeah, I'd be interested in this. And then internally I was oh my gosh, I know nothing of how to broadcast it, of how to color a hockey game. I know how to commentate a hockey game from my perspective of screaming at the refs, screaming at the other team. That's my kind of commentary. But then on March 1st was our International Women's Night game. And so they're end goal, we want you to broadcast this game for International Women's Night. So I knew that I would say a month in advance that I knew I was going to do March 1st. But then February 22nd was our Pride night. And then I was like, I would like to dip my toes in the pond, you know, not have my first night be International Women's Night. And so I was like, I'm going to broadcast then to just get my toes in the sand. So I kind of got to choose in that aspect. So between a month, I probably had about a week or so before knowing that I was going to broadcast.
Okay.
And so then after that, I was like, oh, I gotta go. But I shadowed Andrew Smith, our wonderful play-by-play guy, once in the booth just for, I think we had a random Thursday night game, and so there's nothing going on there. So I shadowed him for the game, and I was able to be like, oh, like this is how long a usual stoppage of play is that I will have time to speak, or like this is how Andrew flows into the broadcast, because he used to. It's actually a really fun fact. My predecessor, so who I'm basically taking the position from, is Nick Olchek, who's currently with the Seattle Kraken.
Yes.
Absolutely an incredible guy. But he used to do color for a bit with Andrew before he got called up to the Chicago Blackhawks and then the Seattle Kraken. So obviously I was like, these are giant shoes to fill. Like the Olcheks, that's like a huge deal. But I was able to talk to Andrew and kind of get his flow back, because he hasn't been used to having someone in the booth with him because Nick got called up. So just kind of finding that flow. It took us about 2 games, but the most recent game we did, it was like the flow was just, it was there. It was very conversational. The way that I think a hockey broadcast should be, like it should not just be like boom, 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 boom. Like you want a little conversation. You want it to flow a little bit. And I mean, Andrew, he comes from a lot of experience. He's a teacher. He teaches economics and journalism. He also does broadcasting for his son's high school volleyball team and soccer and basketball. And he does baseball. He does all these sorts of things, but he really loves hockey. And so just being able to learn so much from him has just been so cool.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Okay, and the silly aspect, what's been your favorite moment?
Like, oh my gosh.
Just weird, wacky, silly behind the scenes.
So the Fuel took a trip to the Mad Ants game. They play at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. So they're the G League of the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
Basketball. And so we took a couple of the guys to basketball game. So it was Darby Llewellyn, who I've had a lot of fun with him so far. We used to do like burning questions with Darby. And so like he would like go around with the mini mic, ask like players and fans like random questions. One time he asked like, who's your favorite player on the team? And like he'd like ask the fan. And if the fan didn't say him, he'd be like, why not me? Like, and it was super funny. He's a really funny guy. Him and his wife, like I've talked to them all the time. They're great people. And there's also Colin Bielik. He's also just a great guy. He graduated from West Point, and so after he's done playing hockey, he's going to go serve in the military, which is just super cool. And he's just an incredible guy to talk to. And then Anthony Petruzzelli, my comments guy, who came back, and his wife were also there. So 3 of us were there with the media team and some other front office Fuel staff, and we went to this G League basketball game. We sat courtside. There was maybe like 200 people there at the game. We were screaming. We were going crazy. We were really building the energy. They came back from like a 20-point comeback, and they came and won the game. But Petruzzelli played, he tried to make 3 like shots against one of like a 6 foot like 7 G League NBA player, and he's like 5'7". So he was like trying to score a basket, and we're all just like having like a ball because he like couldn't obviously get past him. And then some of the guys played like ham, so like trying to shoot ham, whatever, against another G League player, NBA player. And it was just really fun. Like it was just a really good dynamic to see these guys off the ice, but then also just, you know, their funny selves. Also, another recent moment is we gave out like end of year social media awards. Mm-hmm. And so they were like Silly Goose Award. They were like Sweet Treat Connoisseur and like things like that. And so we were like presenting them the award. And they're like, for me, some of them gave a speech, and it was really funny. And then other ones were like, wait, did everyone get this? And we're like, no, just you. They're like, aw. We're like, oh, you guys are so sweet. We're like, yeah, of course, anytime. And so it's just been really funny just to like these guys have really grown in social media because like obviously when you come like at the beginning of the season, like I remember media day, I was so scared because I did not know anyone's names. They didn't know me. And it was like a really rough relationship of like they didn't really want to answer my questions that I had because they thought that it was stupid, which I mean sometimes TikToks can be stupid, but
that's
they're really funny. That's like the whole point.
Yeah.
But then now they're like up to do anything. So especially when we were doing like basketball, I was like filming behind them, like trying to film a basket. And if they like made it, then they would like turn around and like give me like a press conference. So they would do like a post game debrief. They're like, I'm really proud of myself. Like I really did this for my team. They're like, I really worked hard here today. And so like they've just really grown in themselves. And it's just they're so funny. I mean, every single practice I go to, it's something new.
Far as where my sports, I mean, I just feel like sports have been in my world like as soon as I could walk, right? I grew up having ESPN on in the background at all times. I had an unhealthy obsession with Dustin Pedroia from the Red Sox. He kind of like occupied a lot of part of my brain for the majority of my life and still does to this day because I have a signed baseball above me currently from him. I've loved sports for forever. I love the minutia of sports. I love the way it brings people together. I love that it gives a foundation of connection, regardless of who you root for. I mean, it's just something that people can really always connect on when it feels like there's not a lot of things to connect on in this world right now. So it's always been something I find and hold really near and dear. As far as the Chicago Women's Sports Club, its inception has been really organic, and it's been such a treat to watch people be excited about it. It felt like it exploded as soon as the idea came to be. It felt like everyone was so excited to have it. And what's so cool is that it's not like it's the only women's organization that prioritizes sport in Chicago by any stretch. In fact, it's joining a large league of other amazing organizations. It just felt like, to me, there was an opportunity to widen the space, and why not if we can? It felt like there was an opportunity to just open that door even wider, and I wanted to help do so. And so it's just been really fun. We have so many exciting things, including you teaching a hockey class. And I'm so grateful. I think it's just going to be so fun because, and we've kind of talked about it, hockey can sometimes feel like a little bit must be this tall to ride in order to get your foot in the door to have that conversation and watch and enjoy and, you know, understand what's going on.
Definitely agree with that. And that's kind of why we break things down on the show, whether it's kind of like explaining things or truly like we have a whiteboard of the ice and we kind of just like break down plays and stuff. And we're like, this is why this matters. But yeah, I mean, even I, of course, saw it on TikTok and I was like, this is the greatest thing I have ever seen. Because I, you know, have the Hockey Princess show. Hockey's been my number one. But, you know, we dabble with motorsports and baseball as well. But there's sports where it's like, I have no idea. I don't know how football works. I don't know how basketball works. I know I love the WNBA, like being here in Chicago, but I'm like, I don't know how things work. This is fantastic. Because there's going to be, on the flip side, somebody else that will be able to teach me about things.
Exactly. And people love to teach. Like, I think when you learn from someone who loves what they love, like you can kind of feel it. And so I think that's why it's gonna be so amazing having you teach the hockey class and really give this intro to, hey, this is like the 411 on what's going on here. Because all I know is I love Landeskog and I really like an Avalanche jersey. Like, I like the colors. That's like all I've got.
When you sent me that, I was like, green flags all around because Landeskog is
I love that man, and I'm like, that's all I need to know. That's like, and I feel really comfortable with that knowledge, but I'm also like, I could stand to stretch that a bit.
Okay, because I also love Landeskog. I learned about Landeskog from my first fantasy hockey team, and have been in love since. Why Landeskog? Like, what is the lore?
You know what? And that's a great question. I honestly don't even know if there was like a beginning to my love with, like, I just feel like he's always been there. So I'm originally from Colorado. So I love the Avalanche in theory of just nativity. But I think my dad always had this thing where it was, we will always like the player regardless of the team he plays for. This mostly made sense for Red Sox versus Yankees. Because as you know, large rival, or maybe not, but large rivalry between the two.
Yes.
And there was a player named Derek Jeter. And I will never forget when he first like came on screen, I guess. And I was like, boo. I'm like, looking at my dad. I'm like, check this out. I'm nailing it. You know, I'm going, boo. And he's like, oh, no. He's a really good guy. Like we like Derek Jeter. And it was such a flip of switch because and a good reminder to fans everywhere that they are people after they, exit our view. And it's important to treat them as such. And B, he said, we will always like the player over the team he plays for. And so I remember when I think like maybe it was like a 30 for 30 or ESPN was doing some sort of player highlight spotlight and it was on Landeskog. And they were just talking about how, his family and like a lot of the amazing work. He actually did a lot of amazing charity work in Colorado. And just how well he spoke of his teammates. You could really tell that he felt was such an integral part of their cohesion. And I think that's just such an incredible role many players try to take on. And he does it so successfully and so seamlessly. And so that was why I always liked Landeskog. And I actually have a signed jersey from him. So I hold that near and dear.
Amazing. I'm assuming you've watched the episode of Face Off that he's on. Okay.
Yes.
Amazon Prime. So they essentially there's a show on Netflix called Drive to Survive, and it goes through like Formula One teams and stuff like that. But NHL did like their version with the same producers, and it's called Face Off, and it's like 6 episodes. Usually they tie like 2 to 3 players per episode, but Landeskog has like an entire episode, and it's at like post injury, him with the family, kind of like balancing that, and fantastic behind the scenes stuff. And his kids are so stinking cute.
Oh, so cute. I'm like on my Instagram, I'm just like, share, repost. Thank you for sharing. I'm commenting. I'm like a weirdo. I comment on like so many players. I'm just like, thank you for sharing. Really like this one. Just like very weird mom Facebook comment.
Excellent picture.
Excellent. Really like the second one. Like, hi.
Was there like a moment or like a period of time that you can like pinpoint was the inception of the Chicago Women's Sports Club? Like, were you watching something, having a conversation with people, and you're like, I need to do this?
You know what? Actually, there literally is a moment, and it's funny because it was on TikTok. I had posted, so I have like the 2 accounts. I have like my sports account, then I have just like my personal one. And on the sports one, I had like 4 months ago, I had posted like something about how I wish there was like an idea of like Chicago Women's Sports Club. Like it was a really offhanded. It was not specific. I just was like, oh gosh, like I wish this existed. Right. Yeah. And people were like in the comments, like, we should start that, which is like how most things, oh, we should do this. And then the next thing that we should do comes along. So anyway, it kind of died in the comments, moved on, life happened, school was coming back up, yada, yada, yada. And a woman DM'd me literally, this has been alive for like a month. Yeah. DM'd me about a month ago. And she goes, hey, I don't know if you ever ended up starting this, but if you did, I'd really love to join. This is like something that I like have always wanted. And I just like think like, if you ended up starting it, please let me know. I want all the details. And I remember I responded, I was like, oh my gosh, you know what? I didn't, but I will today. And that was the start.
Shout out to a TikTok DM. We love it.
Shout out to a TikTok DM. That is like quite lit. It just kind of kicked my butt. It's that I was like, okay, if one person wants it, there's got to be more,
So the Kalamazoo Wings are breaking all sorts of records in terms of like attendance and getting people inside of the building. Do you feel like your previous job history definitely helped with you guys having as much success as you are recently, / what are you guys doing differently?
So do I think my past, no, I don't. I actually don't think my past job history. I credit that a lot to the culture within Greenleaf Hospitality Group. I have a lot of autonomy as a leader. Mm-hmm. And one of my strengths is building culture within my team. And so, I want creative ideas, right? And it's fun. Every season when we sit down to build out the next season, it's a blank piece of paper. So cause games, so it's kind of like a 3-legged stool. So we look at cause games, we look at pop culture, and then we look at tradition. And that's how we build the promotional schedule for the themes. And cause games is something that's near and dear to my heart. When I look at the makeup of our front office, of our hockey ops staff, of our players, and we just start there, we touch a lot of different demographics. We've got veterans. We've got, I have a Jewish person on staff. I have a Black sales rep. Our head coach is Black. We have individuals of different sexual orientation. I mean, I could go on and on. You have a female GM. And so we want to represent that in what we're offering in terms of Hockey for Her, Black Excellence Celebration. We're actually changing that name next season from Black Heritage to Black Excellence. Deaf Awareness is a game we did this year. I wear a hearing aid. And so I thought, there's a whole community of people out there that haven't been represented. Rainbow Ice is really what we became known for. And I will say that was my baby. That was my passion project. We are known for colored ice games historically, like green ice and orange ice and pink ice. And I was like, I want to do rainbow ice, partner that with Hockey is for Everyone with the NHL. And I will never forget that phone call from my ice guy. And he says, what do you want to do? And so I told him my vision, and he brought it to life. We've done that 3 years now in front of sellout crowds. And, it's equal parts. It's interesting when you do stuff like this, when you dive into this cause game space. My number one rule around this is we don't do tokenism. So we are not here to check boxes. We mean this stuff. Mm-hmm. And so it is not for PR. It's not to sell tickets. It is because this represents our greater community. And we want people to come in to our facility, have fun, feel safe, feel seen, feel heard.
Right.
And so it's really important that we do it the right way. So I'm excited for next season. We haven't yet to reveal what we're working on, but I can promise that we'll be continuing to break all kinds of records.
Woo, love that. Yeah, can you speak into more like how the Rainbow Ice game, like how that all kind of started?
Yeah. So Rainbow Ice started with, like I said, with our colored ice games. And I thought no one ever in hockey has done rainbow. And I thought that would be impactful. And we have this stage, if you will, the ice. I mean, we're the only professional hockey team in Kalamazoo. So how can we use our stage as a way to bring inclusivity into this space, in this hockey world? Hockey is 97% white. So how can we say, no, please come if you're not white? Like, white people, we love you, you come too. I mean, I'm white, but we, so it's like, but the same thing is we want all cultures to come. And so the rainbow represents not just LGBTQ plus, because people get that confused. It's synonymous with that, but it also represents gender, race, religion, disabilities, socioeconomic backgrounds and such. So that's really the origin. And we are the only team that has done it to this day. It's award winning, and we're really proud of that. And we actually just came off a win at the National Sports Forum in Pittsburgh called the Sammy Award. So it stands for Sales, Advertising, Management, Marketing Idea of the Year Award.
Wow, that's helpful.
And we won. What I pitched was, it's called Inclusive Spirit. And I pitched our diversity, equity, inclusion initiatives for the 22-23 hockey season, and framing it similar to the way that I just spoke to you about how it represents the front office and the hockey ops and our players. And we won. And we were up against an NFL team, an NBA team, and two advertising agencies that create Super Bowl commercials for PetSmart and Staples, and we won.
Wow. Congratulations.
I mean, and it's the first award we've won outside of the league, which we've won several awards in the league, which we're so proud of. But yeah, it was huge. And it just continues to show that people are being felt that they're being seen and they're being heard. And so we're going to keep continuing to do that work. And we're going to have fun too, because we do a lot of pop culture games. Like we just had a Scooby-Doo game for Pucks and Paws.
I saw the jerseys. Those look so good.
And that game sold out. And those jerseys, people love those jerseys. I mean, I grew up watching Scooby-Doo. Who didn't? And so we did a Dumb and Dumber game this year for those fans of that movie. So we do a lot of fun stuff too. So
do you feel like it's sort of a benefit to be in a like a smaller city compared to like Grand Rapids or even Detroit, that you have the ability within a small, like in a tighter community, to be able to do those more like pop culture-y games and have a bit more flexibility with that?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's trademarking we have to be concerned about too, and a lot of these deals are brokered through the league, which is really helpful. So we can do that, but there are certain things like Wizards, Wands, and Wings. The league doesn't have a deal with Harry Potter, so we have to get creative in that. Mm-hmm. And what's beautiful about being in a smaller town is we're not the spotlight isn't on us to like dig out trademarking. So this is a little insider secret here. So when you're in a small town, you can kind of get away with more. It depends who's all watching this though. I may have just let the cat out of the bag.
Jump back to kind of the beginning of how you said that, you got into hockey with the Briar University. I too did not. So I was a hockey fan before getting into hockey book talk, but I definitely have read the L. Kennedy books. I have never read Icebreaker. I think I've danced around all of them, but that one, it's on the TBR. We'll get to it at a point, maybe when we have the Olympics and it's a little bit more of a downtime. Are you excited for the TV series? Because I know there were a lot of people that had some big feelings on like when the casting came out and kind of everything.
Yeah, I am definitely was a part of the majority that were not so impressed, to say the very least, and to be the most polite, with the casting when it was announced. For the girls that have already been, casted, I believe right now it's just Hannah and Allie.
Okay.
Love them. I think they did a really good job. For the guys, it took me a while until I actually saw them do their character development and, go and, learn how to look like they are collegiate hockey players and kind of get more into their characters. That at first I was like, I can't see the vision. I don't want to see the vision. This isn't the vision in my head. And now I'm slowly warming up to, okay, I can see something's clicking in my head now, except for Tucker. Because I mean, I'm sure they're gonna, I hope they'll dye his hair, because in the books, he's a redhead with a big bushy beard. And the actor that plays him has really long, curly black hair. And I can't vision, I can't picture Tucker when I see that guy. With all the other guys, Garrett, Logan, Dean, I can definitely see them with their actors. I'm sure that I'll be, proven wrong once the show actually, is here and we can watch it. But for right now, it's I'm warmed up, but I'm not completely sold.
That's fair. I'm excited to see it come to life. I didn't necessarily have the biggest reaction to when the casting came out. I was kind of just not what I expected, but will I still watch it? Probably. I mean, put anybody on skates on my TV and I'm bound to watch it in some context. Is there a particular moment? Is there a particular book to TV adaptation that you're just excited to see, a certain storyline? For me, it's the Allie and Dean, when Allie's telling Hannah, go get Dean, and he shows up at the dorm. I cannot wait. I need that scene probably rewind and play it at least like 15 times the first time that I see it. But is there like a moment where you're just like, I need to see this, or that you feel very like connected to, that if they goof up, you'll be a little bummed per se?
I'm totally on board. If they do not include that scene, I probably won't finish the series. But the one I'm like really, really looking towards is, and I hope that they do it exactly like how it's written in the book, is the I believe it's the mistake. It's Logan and Grace's. The whole process of Logan winning Grace back and her list. I cackle, even on like my 20th reread of the book, cackle at the things that Grace has this man doing for her, and he does it willingly.
Yeah.
And it like he just has no shame and is not embarrassed at all, and I love it. So I'm really, really hoping that they put that, all of it exactly as it is in the show. I am very interested to see what they do with the spicy scenes that are, because there's, especially with Dean and Allie's book, it's like that's like his whole personality, really.
Yeah.
That we know.
Oh my God, we get to see Winston.
We get to see Winston.
If they probably will take out Winston, but gosh, I hope they make some sort of reference.
Yeah, the whole bathtub scene. I mean, as funny as it is, I think that they will probably take it out just because of, ratings and trying to not be R-rated, but be like
Right.
TVMA.
And I don't know off the top of my head, but they're just doing the first like 4, right? For right now.
Yeah, they're just doing the off-campus as far as I know. So the deal, the mistake, the score, and the goal. So just the main 4 guys. And then I think, I mean, hopefully if there's fan demand and the ratings are good, then maybe they'll do the next 4 after that. But I think as far as I know, they were just greenlit to do those first 4 stories.
Makes sense. I didn't even think of it until right now, and I'm awful for blanking on the kid's name, but I'm very curious as to how they handle the football player.
Oh, Bo. Bo Maxwell, always in my heart.
That's
gonna break me.
That's gonna make me cry.
That's gonna break me. I reread the score the other day and I sobbed. I'm like, I know what's happening. I literally know the chapter leading up to it. I still sobbed. I cried.
Yeah, that one's gonna hurt. I didn't even think of that. I've just been too excited to just see the fun moments. The like in the first one where when Garrett puts the whole campus wide band. Like I'm just excited for like the funny parts, but I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna like wreck me emotionally.
Yeah. To see like Garrett's plot line, especially now that we know who has been casted as his dad, it's gonna be very interesting how they handle really like him and Hannah's. It's gonna be very interesting how they kind of go about that topic and how they approach it. Which I mean, I'm excited to see. Like, there's not a lot of, without spoiling it for people who haven't watched it, but there's not, at least that I've seen, a lot of Garrett's storyline with what he goes through, like coming from a male's perspective.
Yeah.
And through the lens as an adult, looking back at what he goes through. It's hard to like not spoil it. But,
right. It's like, very much like you're told through dialogue. You're not really necessarily like shown it through like too many flashbacks. It's kind of just partially what you get from the dialogue and then left up to like your imagination. So I imagine they deviate slightly just to give us more of that background.
Yeah, it's probably a lot of alluding until, like, if they include it, the big Thanksgiving scene.
Oh
God, I hate Garrett's dad. I hate Garrett. I'm not spoiling anything. I hate Garrett Graham. I am not a fan. Or sorry, not Garrett Graham. Oh God, what's his dad's name? I can't remember. I don't care to remember.
Not a fan.
I was like, I don't care to remember. Actually, I'm not a fan of you, sir.
I have kind of always been aware of it. I actually, ironically, when I was younger, I used to watch NASCAR with my grandpa, and the motorsports part never stuck with me for some odd reason. Again, we're coming back to the full circle moment because it's exactly the same thing that happened with hockey. But I have a best friend who lives in Australia, and I got her into hockey, and kind of in a bad way because NHL games for her on in like the morning, and there's like hockey there is it's a sport, but it's not as predominantly played as it is here. So through our friendship, I got her into hockey, and she was like, I think I have to get you into a sport. And I was like, okay, pitch whatever you have. I'll try it. And she was an F1 fan, so she was like, I think you'd really like F1. And this was March of last year. And at the time I was like, I remember I tried to watch the Vegas Grand Prix the year before, and I fell asleep because it was late. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. I have nothing. I have no idea what's happening. And so she was like, the race is on this weekend. Just watch it, see what you like. And I was like, okay. It was the Australian Grand Prix of 2024. And all I knew going in was that Max Verstappen won everything. And in the first 2 laps of that race, Max DNF, like his car, something happened with the car. So I was like, oh wait, this is already interesting. Like all I knew was that. So I watched the race. Carlos Sainz won, and I was not aware that he had just missed the race before for a surgery. It was just like this wild thing. So I watched it, and I was like, I kind of understand why this is fun. I get it. And like everything else with me, it was a very fast and slippery slope of becoming fully immersed in the said sport. So I watched that race, and then I kind of was talking to my friend. I was like, who's your favorite? Who is the team I should like? Whatever. And I ended up kind of gravitating. My favorite driver is Lando Norris. Carlos and Charles are actually like my if I have a big 3, those are my big 3.
Mm-hmm.
But that was literally it. I watched one single race, and I was like, wow, I've been missing out. I don't know why anybody. And my one friend, she was like, well, ironically, it wasn't like this. Like Max won almost every race the year before.
Yeah,
and
you
then
got into a really exciting race.
So I took it. I literally took it. The way last season went, I was like, I think this is because I started watching. Like I just turned it around. So I went to my first race in March. I actually went to Australia for this year's Australian Grand Prix, which is absolutely amazing. And that was it. It's literally that I watched one and I kind of just full on right in, and I don't regret it. So
Love that.
yeah.
What are your thoughts, since Lando is your guy? What are your thoughts on the Drivers' Championship?
I don't want to say I hate it, but it is stressing me out to the point where, like last year, I knew it was kind of out of reach because Max is still leading. So like it was a championship race, but I never felt like, okay, this is gonna happen. You know what I mean? This year, the fact that either Oscar or Lando will win it and one of them won't, is enough to like set me to be like, I don't want to watch I don't want it. It's just, I'm okay with either of them again, because I think by picking up Lando, I just automatically became a McLaren fan. I don't really know if that's where my alliance usually lies. But in my heart, I'd like Lando to win it first. Again, because he's been there forever and he kind of stuck it out and it was really bad. And not that that's a fault on Oscar for coming in when they kind of just figured things out. But I just want everyone to win. So I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do when we get to the end of the season. And now it's like, one of them can only win that. So we'll see. It's caused me a lot of stress just thinking about it. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to have to deal with it. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I can't imagine the stress as a Ferrari first, unfortunately, girly. Leclerc's my number one. At least like I'm just watching that, like watching them being bad is an entirely different
Yeah.
thing. If I actually like had to stress out every rate, I don't.
Yeah, it's a time. And I like last year it wasn't so bad because it was more, again, it was kind of evenly balanced where I was like, okay, it could happen, it could not. And there were so many race winners last year where I was like,
That's what
it's a wide open.
I loved that about last year, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the person, like one of the people that's like this year is boring because it's always McLaren.
Yeah.
But that was probably one of my favorite things about last year is that you just had so many different, like,
And multiple
from
times.
all sorts of different teams. Like not only was the drivers' championship in play, but the constructors too, like to a point. Then it was like, okay, McLaren's killing it.
It was crazy.
But yeah, I'm kind of, and it might be my just sad Ferrari brain where I'm like, I'm just ready for this year to be done.
I know, I feel so
poor
bad.
Hungarian weekend. Lewis is calling himself useless, and I'm like, what is happening?
Coming in, I was like, I was a little fearful because I was like, oh my god. First off, I was really upset Carlos left Ferrari. Although I know it was going to happen, but I was like, I am so sad that they took that duo apart. But I initially thought Ferrari was going to be the one to beat because I was like, you put Lewis in there. Charles is amazing. Like, you know what I mean? As long as they have a good car, they're fine. And then,
and I think the car is okay. It's just their strategy is garbage.
And they just don't listen to the drivers, which to me is crazy when they're the ones literally driving the car. So I initially thought it'd be the opposite way around. I was like, it might be Ferrari's time. And then after 3 races, I was like, maybe not. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the process is here. So everyone
think they know what they're doing. I think they're just like, you know, we're gonna wait for new regulations.
We'll figure it out next year. Yeah.
Yeah, that was sad when they announced that Carlos was leaving. I feel like if in similar to like what he said and what other people have said, like if it was anybody else coming in to replace him, I think I would be more bummed. But it's like, okay, it's not like Ferrari decided to like replace him with a rookie or something. It's like, okay, this even though he's not doing the best this year, he's still Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It is a little sad watching him, Carlos in blue and in the back of the track. Even though I love Carlos, I love Alex Albon, but I was a Logan Sargent girly. And so I have the irrational beef with James Vowles that I love the drivers. I cannot cheer for Williams.
Yeah. So I only got into it last year. Then again, it was like I think Australia last year was the 4th race. And I had asked my friend, I was like clearly aware that there were like no Americans in the sport. And then she was like, she'd also like Logan. So like Logan's the only American. I was like, immediately I'm gonna root for him. I don't care. He's the American. I have to root for him. And then it slowly became I was like, oh, okay, whatever. I was aware of the situation. And then like halfway through when they dropped him, I was like, this is unreal. I hate this. I was so mad. So I didn't even get a full like
season with
him. Yeah. So
I didn't even get a full season with Danny. Oh my God.
So it was very like I was trying to like catch up on everything while also experiencing what was happening. And I was like, oh my God, what is going, like, what is happening? So yeah, I was very upset about Logan. I still kind of am. I was like, oh, the one I like, it's okay.